Just take these first few moments as a chance to detach, to put down anything you may be carrying around with you, to just let go of the day, the month, the year, the life, and just arrive. Just arrive here with whatever is in your awareness, whether it's a loud mind, whether it's a heavy body, light body, peaceful mind. Just be here. There's nowhere else you need to be. There's no way that it needs to be. And we'll just spend the first couple of minutes arriving together in silence. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Let it go. 2 more. Breathing in. Let it go. 1 more. Namaste. Welcome.
Namaste.
Welcome everyone. In one word, one wonderful word, describe how you're feeling today. Start with B.
Sparkly.
Sparkly. Nice. Let's just move around and let it carry on.
Yellow.
Yellow. Sparkly yellow.
Happy.
Awesome. Carry on. No.
And relaxed.
Relaxed. Nice. Where's
Grateful.
grateful? Dear.
Peaceful.
Peaceful. You can all leave. I have no work to do, so this is such good news.
And you?
Great. Thank you. Thank you for asking. So we're going to cover a few things. We're going to carry on with the teachings of Sri Ramana Maharishi, who is basically the top of the lineage of people that I study. He's the GOAT, the greatest of all time. So he is the one. I was studying some stuff with him this week, and I was just contemplating the simplicity of the teaching, as always. You know, the teaching is always so simple that we can't believe it to be so easy. So, and he said a nice thing. He said a couple of nice things, but just simple realizations. So, how does the mind speak in terms for you? Is it an audible voice inside your head, maybe? It is for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does a very good job of mimicking my voice. Anyone not familiar with that? You know, the voice in your head is normally audible to you, not to anyone else, and it sounds just like you.
It's weird when they argue though.
Yeah,
It's weird when they argue though.
who's it arguing then? So it's audible, normally in the form of your voice. And that's a mirage. It's a mirage. It plays a very, very close thing. And there's another way our mind works.
I don't hear it, I feel it.
Feel it? Okay, that's good. We'll come to that in a second. Well, it's useful though. Any other way that your mind works? Some people, most of us. I'll slip out there. If I ask you to visualise a pink elephant, it can see, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it can see.
Visualize.
Some people not so much as others, but these are really the two forms that make it most apparent. So the mind tends to operate in audible cues and pictures. Okay? When you go to bed at night, the pictures become far more vivid. If you dream. If you don't dream, then good for you. You probably had a peaceful night's sleep. Okay, so feelings. Feelings are equated to emotions. You normally say, I feel happy, I feel sad. Yeah? Is that more regular to a feeling? Fear, you probably don't think. I think you're probably the most enlightened one in it. So I often need to teach from you. So you can take this all with a pinch of salt. But our feelings are vibrations, because you can feel them. And a shift in vibration, the difference between a happy feeling and a sad feeling is a vibration. Where would you say you feel? If you said, I don't want to use a word that sort of points it away, but it's not the truth, but if you said, like, I felt my heart drop, it's not your physical heart that you feel drop. There's an energy that you feel sort of in this region that you can feel drop, or I've got butterflies in my stomach. Or if some terrible news happens, there is a pit that forms around this area. We've all experienced something like that. Sinks. There's a sinking. Okay, that sinking feeling. Has everyone had a heart sink moment in their life? Yeah. Okay. That sinking is your prana dropping. Okay, it's the place in which your energy. You have these 7 pivotal centers, or 6, but the 7th is ethereal. You have these 7 centers in your body, and they can be experienced through vibration, and there are different places that you operate. Okay, and when something negative happens, it's a genuine feeling that pulls that energy lower. So it tends to feel like heavier down here. When you're happy and this is open, you feel a continuity of energy flowing through your body, but we all feel them. We all feel it. We must feel it because we're all alive. So in some way, we have a feeling in our body which is able to dictate how the physical version of our body is feeling, and then we have a mind in audible or picturesque form that likes to articulate it. Okay, and this is the way that we navigate through the world in this vessel. And this is where the association slips up a lot of the time. This is where our form of identity is held, because we say, I feel happy, yeah, or I feel sad. We don't often look at the I that's feeling the happy, or I think that's a bad idea. We've all said that at least once, right? I think. Normally when you're in the middle of a conversation and someone's saying something that you perhaps disagree with, we often combat it by saying, well, I think, but who is the I that is thinking? We're all aware that there's an I and there's a thought. We say it daily. We're all aware that there's an I and there's a feeling, but yet we dissociate with the I and we choose the feeling to be the embodiment of us, or we dissociate with the I and we choose the thought to be the embodiment of us. And just having that separation, that you're almighty aware already that you are the I that's thinking and the I that's feeling is quite refreshing. It's this turning of identity and this turning the awareness upon itself. And it's tedious, okay, because I've been teaching you guys to inquire into the self of I, follow the I back into the place in which it was formed, or who is it, who am I? These different versions of following it. And it's quite tough. It's not the easiest thing to sit down and just fall back into it. So fortunately for all of us, there's a whole passage on how to practice self-inquiry. And that's what we're going to practice tonight. Okay, so the first half of the class is going to be this, and then the second half, or maybe the last 10 minutes of class, we're going to shift all the mats, and we're going to lay down in Shavasana, and we're going to relax, if that's okay.
Wow,
Yeah, so we get the best bit of the yoga practice without having to do any of the work. Yeah. So don't tell me I don't treat you guys. I'm going to lay down with you. Okay. So Ramana, when he was 16, lost his dad. And his dad was dead on the floor in front of him. And that's a young age to see death. We don't see death a lot, especially in particular at that age. It's not common for us to see death. That's going to be good for me to find that. But he saw his dad dead on the floor, and it petrified him. It petrified him. That's a strong word. It froze him. And he went into a state of fear, and he watched his dad get buried. And in India, there's a parade, not buried, cremated. Yeah, they burn bodies in India. And he was left with this perpetual fear of death. And at 16, he went into his house once the funeral was over and everything was over, and his mother wasn't around, and he laid on the floor in complete fear, like, I'm going to die, what's going to happen to me? I've seen a dead body. And he was in deep fear, and he inquired the question, who dies? And he just went straight into self-inquiry, and he disappeared. And for 2 to 3 months, he didn't land back in his body. They were having to feed him. They were having to help him go to school, and he was just sort of like a carcass walking around with no embodiment at 16. And he came back to his body and landed back in his form, and his whole personality had dissolved. There was not an inkling of Ramana anymore. There was just an enlightened being of pure presence that could answer the most deep questions of the universe. And every answer that he gave was like a pure teaching written straight out of a passage from the Advaita Vedanta textures. It was like refined, and he just was able to cut straight through by inquiring, who am I? Who is it that dies? And his whole teaching became based around self-inquiry. And he then made this system where most yoga teachers, you have to go from A all the way to Z and then start self-inquiry. And I was probably at about D in my yoga journey, and I started self-inquiry, and I found it hugely relieving. It was just like, this is the bit that we need, at this point in our life. He's a really, really renowned saint, and it was really funny when he became enlightened, or when he was living constantly as an enlightened being, because everyone's enlightened. There is no differentiation in my state of enlightenment to yours, or his. It's the same. He was just resting as that, whereas we still lose ourselves multiple times. And he just had an amazing ability to show you who you are. And every single religion and tradition around him wanted to claim he's part of this, So if you buy a book about Ramana Maharaji and it's written by anyone, be careful, because the Advaita Vedantins took it and said it's Advaita Vedanta, the Hindus took it and said it's Hinduism, the Buddhists took it and said he became the Buddha, because the principle was the same. And when you're speaking the innate truth of any religious or spiritual ground, then there is no differentiation between any of them. There's love, there's peace, there's bliss, there's ineffable, wordless, formless consciousness. And it's not a fight for who's right. They're all right. They're all right. If you're a Christian, that's right for you. If you're a Hindu, that's right for you. Whatever it is that takes you to God, trust me, that's right for you. Yeah, there's no distinction. So there's no point in having a war about it. There's no separation. And all the great saints, everyone that's walked this earth has taught the same message. Yeah. It is our bad ability to decipher it with our minds that gets lost in the works, okay? Because we read these beautiful poetic stories that hold infinite depth, and we try and rationalise it in the point of the mind. And once you've been to the other side, you can come back and read these passages and these books, and you're completely impartial. They're all just ecstatic, blissful texts. They're wonderful. They're all wonderful. There's no real religious text that I've studied yet that I haven't thought was just sheer beauty. If you take out the dogmatism, which is what we're trying to do. So let's look at self-inquiry. Let's look a bit deeper at it, because this is coming from people that studied under Ramana Maharishi. So it's as close to the horse's mouth as we're able to get. It's definitely closer than what I could teach. So let's teach from them, and then I can say that I'm teaching. Okay, it's going to sound really basic, and it should. Okay. Beginners in self-inquiry were advised by Sri Ramana to put their attention on the inner feeling of I. Feeling, not the thought of I. First distinction. Don't think, who am I, and then try and hold the thought. Feel it. You know who you are, you can feel it, right? Doesn't take too much work to think that. Any questions on that? Is that simple enough? Yeah, good. And to hold their feeling as long as possible. They would be told that if their attention was distracted by other thoughts, they should revert their awareness of the I thought whenever they became aware that their attention had wandered. Super simple still, nothing technical. He suggested various aids to assist the process. One could ask oneself, who am I? Or, where does this I come from? That's a good one. I like that one. I haven't really used that one in class, but where does it come from? Okay, there's space, and then all of a sudden there's a thought. Who am I? Where did the thought come from? Follow it back. It comes from somewhere. It comes from emptiness, and that emptiness is where we're trying to create a relationship with. Okay, where does this I come from? But the ultimate aim was to be continually aware of the I, which assumes that it is responsible for all of the activities of the body and mind. So learning to be aware all the time when the mind is trying to drag you into form and identity, to be continuously aware of it. If you're continuously aware, you're resting as awareness. Beautiful. Easy. Just don't break the concentration. Or don't break the feeling. Concentration is not a good word, it's loaded. In the early stages of the practice of attention to the feeling of I, there is mental activity which takes form of thought or perception. As the practice develops, the thought I gives way to a subjective experience, feeling of I. And when this feeling ceases to connect with identity and with thoughts and objects, it completely vanishes. So at first we're sitting here, we're meditating on the feeling of I, and it's grabbed by a thought, it's grabbed by a feeling, and then we come back, and then it's grabbed by a thought, and then it's grabbed by a thought, and a thought, and a thought, and then we come back. And eventually, when we rest as the feeling of I, we completely lose everything and become connected to everything. That's the goal. And it's that simple. And what remains is an experience of being in which the sense of individuality has temporarily ceased to operate. The experience may be intermittent at first, but with repeated practice, it becomes easier and easier to maintain. When self-inquiry reaches this level, there is an effortless awareness of being in which the individual effort is no longer possible, since the I who makes the effort has temporarily ceased to exist. Yeah? It's so easy. It's so easy. I'll read a bit more in a moment. Let's practice this. That's enough information for us to practice for a moment, yeah? Okay, so what we'll do is we'll start, and you can use the question, who am I? Okay, What was the other one I said? Anyone remember?
Where the eye comes from.
Where does the I come from? Thank you, Kasia. Okay, there are two things, right? Ask the questions. If the thought arrives, follow that thought in back into the space in which it came. Okay? Simple. Okay, so what you want first is just a little moment of nothing. And from that moment of nothing, use intention to ask the question. The question arrives from somewhere. Yeah, it appears, you hear it or see it, and then ask yourself or follow it back into the space in which it appeared. Rest in that feeling and stay there. And if you get knocked off course and you start thinking, ask it again and follow it back in. You'll spend perhaps 5 minutes just going in and out. Don't try. Okay, this is not a mind activity. This is a relaxation. Please distinguish the two. Are you relaxed in your practice or are you trying? If you're trying, relax. Just take a moment to settle. Find the silence. And have fun. Be playful and relax.
Sorry.
You're hungry. You're still in the meditation limelight.
It feels good.
Let it move. It's too quiet in here, isn't it?
It's so quiet.
And relax. Back in. I'm done.
I got the
Okay,
giggles
take a deep
now.
breath. Sorry. It's very unprofessional, isn't it? We have a sense of humour.
Oh, we're human.
It's nice. Okay, any before the belly creaks, anyone got anything they want to share on that before we go any further? Any success? Any non-success? Anyone not feeling it?
Well, there's something. Sorry.
Just
Yeah,
wow.
please.
Just feels nice.
Nice. Go on, David.
It's like the question is answered by I am. So that's it.
Direct. Yeah, it's very direct. It's already answered.
Yeah.
And the answer is, yeah, it's there. It's just the being.
That's so put saying.
That's exactly the right answer. They're all right answers, whatever you say, so don't feel like what you're going to say now is wrong. If you don't want to say anything, that's the right answer too. It's very easy to stop. So, just as easy as it is to talk, there's another teaching that was taught by his student, or Papaji's student. Papaji was a direct disciple of Ramana Maharshi. Papaji was fortunate because he was one of them people, and this is really an important memo here, and you don't have to take this from me because fortunately or unfortunately you decide, I'm your teacher. Okay, so but when Papaji met Ramana and he heard the teaching, he just believed him. And that ceased his search. He just stopped. He just heard the teaching and listened. You know, most of us want to be sure that this is what we're buying into is right, and we want to know that it is definitely what we need, and we want to, for some reason, believe that it's got to be hard, and it hasn't. And when you're really, really ready, or really, really willing, should I say, because you're all ready to just do it, then the answer's there, instantly. And it's important to just try it with wholehearted nature, because it will always arrive in a place of peace. And what they said, or what one of the students asked was, okay, I'm really, really good at making my mouth shut up when I'm talking. I know how to do that. We all know how to do that, right? You know, we can just, and he goes, but I don't understand how to make this shut up. And he just said, same way. Just stop. Just try it for a moment. Just shut up. It just stops, doesn't it? It's like we believe it's so difficult to do that. But why it's difficult to do that is because we invest more and more energy. We keep chucking fuel on the fire and we keep buying into the stories and playing with them rather than saying, shut up, stop, you know? Because there's no differentiation in any one of you beings from inside to outside. You know, just because I'm saying it now, yeah, and it's audible to all of you, from my direct experience, there's words going on, okay? From your direct experience, you can't hear my thoughts, but I certainly hear my thoughts, and I certainly hear my voice, and I certainly have the ability to, just as simply, it's not difficult. You just have to believe it. Stop believing it. It's a lifelong mission, and just sit on the gate. Oh, I'm thinking. Stop. And it stops. Is that not a gift? It's so simple, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to sit down and I'm going to turn the telly on, you know, go to bed, and hopefully when I wake up in the morning it shuts up. You know? Come on, just give yourself the grace of the moment, you know.
Yeah.
Because when you can just truly stop, and you just make a relationship with the stopped nature, the stopped nature of yourself, and you start to recognise, wow, there's this really, really strong sense of peace that exists in me at any time I'm prepared to look, and any time I'm prepared to just take a moment. And it's always there. It becomes stronger. Your relationship with it becomes stronger. And it's like, at first, yeah, it might have taken all of this and lots of yoga and perhaps whatever tradition you're in to make it stop. But it's just pointing you at what's already there. And then you can get there quicker. And you can get there quicker. And you can get there quicker. And sometimes in life you're really busy. And you've got lots going on and lots of decisions to be made. And it's like, it's a practicality of living, you know. Say if you're constructing your house, or say if you've got your moving house, or something dramatic's happening in life and it requires your mind's problem solving abilities, your mind becomes super loud and you're constantly ingesting information and thoughts, and it almost becomes its own perpetual motion. And at any point you can just stop. And I'll tell you a story, because you'll probably think I'm peaceful all the time, and it's an absolute lie, okay? I was fitting these shelves with Bianca the other day, and I was standing on a chair fitting them, and they had sticks like shit on the back of it with 2 screws on the top, and I had about a 5-minute period to screw them to the wall before the only option would be to take them down, and it would probably rip the wall off with it. So I was perhaps a bit more rushed than I would like to be doing any job. And I think B knew I was getting a bit flustered because I couldn't get my head up there, and the screw was at a funny angle, and I could feel my mind just starting to get pissed off, and I was like, oh dear, there's a bit of anger coming in here. And I felt the sensations in my body changing, and at that point I could have stopped. So what? I could have stopped. But you know, I'm going to carry on, I'm going to get it done, and we got it done, didn't we? And I walked out as fast as I could when I was done, because I knew I had steam to burn. And I did it in a huff, okay? And I was just genuinely in a huff. I wasn't mad at B, I was just in a huff. And as I walked out in a huff, the door handle caught my vest and it ripped my t-shirt clean off.
That's the easiest getting you back.
That was so funny.
I mean, when I say it ripped it clean off, I had a t-shirt on 1 second, the next second the t-shirt was in 2 pieces hanging on the door, right? It was really funny, wasn't it? It broke the tension pretty much instantaneously.
Yeah.
We had to laugh about it. And the vest I was wearing had a pair of, you probably see me wearing it, had a pair of hands on it, and it said trust on it. And I was just like, oh, this is just fucking ironic. You know, this is just absolutely embarrassing. That was all my own doing. That t-shirt would have never ripped if I'd have just took a breath. I lost it. I lose it all the time. All the time I lose it. And I bring it back so quickly. There was a version of me where my ego would have more power just 5-10 years ago, and I would be lost in that angry trail of thought for days, for weeks. I could hold a grudge against someone indefinitely. Those people I hated in the world. I don't hate anyone now, it's not possible. I don't have the capacity to hate anymore. It's completely been abolished in residing in that space. If someone upsets me now, I will instantly recognise they've touched something within me that I need to look at. Because I can't possibly be sad from any of you making me sad, can I? No?
Yeah,
It's your own internal stuff. You know, how can someone that someone else said possibly change anything that's going on inside of me? It's my stuff. If I'm offended, I'm offended. And when you can get to a place where you're living like that, you recognise it's all your own stuff to work on. No one's offending you. You know, when that person there was projecting his stuff or her stuff onto you, that was their stuff. It had nothing to do with you. And I can just as much now sit in a conversation with someone and take a barrage of insults and it never waver me from my seat. They're just suffering. But when I suffer, I always mess things up. It's an unhealthy thing to do in life. Give yourself the opportunity to let it go, to surrender. Because we do have one amazing power, and I've spoke about this before in class and we'll touch it again because it's really relevant. We have will. We all have will. And will, combined with intention, is how we do every single action in this universe. Yeah? I have the will and intention that I'm going to pick up this arm and this arm moves. That's will and intention. There's nothing else going on there but my intention to move the arm, and then the ineffable will power to do it moves it. And every single meticulous action that you make from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed for time indefinitely, it's fueled by them 2 things. Choosing wisely. It's a beautiful gift, you know. So the next day you're having a bad day and you're stomping around the house and you're like a raging bull in a china shop, it's your fault. It's on you because you're not stopping. You know, and listen to the cues. They start subtle. They start subtle. The more in tune you are with that I, the quicker you're going to see when you get wavered from it. Oh God, there's a thought. Oh, I'm sucked into it. Catch it then. If you don't catch it then, catch it the next phase. And if you're in a mix of anger, catch it then. And if after all of that stuff has gone on and you recognise that you've just completely tore up your life, still recognise it then. Perfect. Always there. There's nothing that you can do. It's all your stuff. But the problem is, just before we go any further, and I will go further, the problem is most of the people that we live with are still living in a blame or victim way. So you're sitting there and you're calm, you're taking that barrage of shit, just like, okay, I've got this, you know, they're suffering. But they're blaming you. And that gets tough. That's the tough one, okay? Because just as you come in here tonight and sitting with me, and if I do my job correctly and I sit in a piece of consciousness, then you'll hopefully be sitting in it with me. I invoke you into the space of presence. An ego can invoke you into a space of ego. And if you're not meticulously watching your mind in that moment when someone's offloading and your ego gets stimulated, it's one of the hardest things to back out of, because it is just like a force as strong as any that pulls you in. So be careful, be mindful of these situations, because there's never been a good fight between two egos. There's never been a good fight ever. It shouldn't happen. So we have the power, it's in our court, to not be touched, to not be frightened, and that's okay. And if you get frightened, that's okay. There's no wrong or right. So we'll do a little bit more. We'll carry on with this practice. This practice of self-attention or awareness, or the I thought, is a gentle technique which bypasses the usual repressive methods of controlling the mind. It bypasses them. You're not now sitting here beating the drum of a mantra. You're not now telling yourself you have to do Nadi Shodhana. You're not telling yourself you have to do anything. There is nothing you need to do anymore. Okay? And that's, I'll tell you a million times, it's not that you don't have to do them things, but just don't use them thinking you're going to gain something. Okay? It is not an exercise in concentration, nor does it aim in suppressing thoughts. It merely invokes awareness of the source from which the mind springs. It merely invokes awareness of the source in which the mind springs. The method and the goal of self-inquiry is to abide in the source of the mind and to be aware of what one really is by withdrawing attention and interest from what one is not. Yeah?
So all things, it's like when you was talking about all things that are not us last time.
Yeah, correct. I'll read it again anyway, because it's a really, really potent passage. The method and goal of self-inquiry is to abide in the source of the mind and to be aware of what one really is by withdrawing attention and interest from what one is not. Okay? That means you're sitting here, we're aware, that's enough, we're awareness. And then the thought comes up and you withdraw your attention from the thought. Okay? That means that the thought can pass. Okay? Because this gets even deeper, okay? If the thought doesn't pass, we bury it. Okay? And a thought, I've told you what a thought is, it's a kshana, yeah? It's an energy in the body, and it exists as an energy form, and energy doesn't die, ever. There is the same amount of energy floating around this universe since time immemorial, okay? Since the beginning. It's never a different amount of energy, it changes form, okay? And we're this tiny form of energy in the cosmos that is consuming energy and releasing energy all the time. And the way that we should work is everything comes in and everything is let go of consistently. You know, we do that with digestion, it goes in and out, right? This is me using that in and out, but I'm using it, okay? And then that transfers to heat, and then the heat might transfer to sweat, and then the sweat might leave my body, or the vocal cords. It's always moving, okay? So when something comes in, like a thought that we don't like, and it's in our head, and we're not practiced in letting it go, and we simulate it, we revolve this thought around in our body, and there's lots of things that happen in our experience that are so painful that we resist, we stop it from flowing through us because we don't want to experience it, and we push it into our bodies. And then our bodies get tight, and then we get tension, and then we get illness, and then we get blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay? And the way that you can start undoing this is to start letting it flow again, okay? And that means by withdrawing your attention. So I was sitting here now in meditation, I'm doing self-inquiry, and this is one of my practices. Something painful comes up, or someone said something painful, I welcome it. I really welcome it. I don't fake the welcome. I'm like, welcome, come up. And it's there, and then the mind starts chewing on it, and I can feel that it's an energy form. It's now in my attention. This is bloody good, because it's now in your attention. It's not stored in your body anymore. It's been dormant here, creating a problem in your knee. It's broken the granty. The granty's now come up. It's now back close to where you first ingested it and held on to it, and then you relax. You let it do what it needs to do by not touching it. Not one bit. You just sit as the witness. You don't chuck fuel on it, you don't repress it, you don't fight it, you just let it out. And then it goes. And when it goes, you're letting the well of your energy, you're letting the well of your being start flowing again. It's like a release. You know, people have releases in class, they cry or euphoria. It's just these dormant impressions breaking and being released. It's quite liberating. And we have hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of these stored in our body. So next time something really painful comes up, don't be offended by it. Be excited. Oh, I've got a big one here. Fish that. Let it come up. Whoa! You know, because what will happen is you'll empty your closet of the little stuff, and this is analogous for all spiritual practice. And I'm telling you, you're all on that path. And so you'll deal with stuff, you'll deal with the surface stuff, and you'll empty the closet, and you'll walk around and I'm peace, I've got this is great. And you won't realise, but behind that wardrobe, when you put a sledgehammer through it, there's a bigger wardrobe, and there's big ass skeletons hanging in that one. There's childhood trauma, there's bad things that happen, and you start digging some of that out. But by that point, you're actually practiced in the art of letting go. So it doesn't matter, it doesn't touch you anymore. And then you're just like, well, I didn't even know I was carrying that in me. I didn't even know that thing existed within me. But this is great. I have an opportunity to really let this go. And you become lighter and lighter and lighter. And then you're actively clearing out. And then the other thing is you're not actively storing anymore. As the experience comes in and someone offends you, you notice that you're offended, you relax. I'm not going to push it down. I'm not going to fight. My body's upset. Okay. I don't want to feel this, I'm going to have a drink, or I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to just, be depressed for a day, be sad for a week, whatever you need to do, but just watch it. Don't chuck the fuel on the fire. Does that make sense? Is that quite clear? Yeah. This is the work, and this is all based through self-inquiry. This is all based on being able to distinguish who you are truly versus who you think you are at any given moment, or who you feel you are. And it's really that simple. It's not some monumental task. It is a lifetime's worth of work. So from one perspective, it seems like a monumental task, but it really is simple, which is quite freeing. Yeah.
I liked the analogy that you used of like resting as the awareness that watches as if the things that are coming up are like on a screen, and then you can kind of rest, like as it was saying in that book, like abiding in that space behind.
Yeah, just resting as awareness. The energy to do the practice should be that of a curious puppy. You know how a puppy walks around and they're interested in what's going on, they're not really scared of anything? That's the sort of feeling you want to have in your embodiment when you're watching, is curiosity. Oh, not like, be interested. This stuff's within you, it's not anywhere else, it's not stored anywhere else, it's all stored within you. And there's a freedom in it because at any given moment you can stop. freedom is peace doesn't have to be earned. Anytime. And we're so conditioned to think we have to earn things. We don't. So let's just spend a moment in peace together. Are we happy to do that? We'll meditate until the biggest fidgeter starts to fidget, and fidget now. Fidget now. Itch, scratch, touch. Because this, and I'm not knocking it, alright? There's nothing wrong with it. But this is a discomfort. Okay? So what if there's discomfort? Passive. Let it be. Both of my legs are dead right now. I'm fine with it. You know, they'll wake up when I move. Don't worry about it. You know, just be still. Okay? Remember the few things. We've got the where did the I come from? If you need it. We've got who am I? We've got resting as the feeling, not the thought. And having the energy of relaxation and curiosity on the stuff that might want to come up. Give yourself permission to be, and give yourself permission to let whatever wants to make an appearance, make an appearance. You'll be absolutely bewildered by some of the stuff that just comes up, but just don't touch it. And if nothing comes up, congratulations. Just have fun. deep breath in. Let it go. Beautiful. Okay. Sometimes, very rarely, I feel like I'm just about to take off. And I'm sat in front of a classroom full of people. I get really bummed out because I'm like, if I go now, it's going to be 8 hours and none of you are going to talk to me. Not the time.
It's so quiet.
Yeah, it's definitely, isn't it? How'd you get on with that? It's nice and easy, right? Anyone struggle with that? No. It's not fun always dealing with your stuff. But you have to recognise you do it. You know, we all know that person that got divorced 20 years ago and still blames their wife for all of their problems. You know, we hear it all the time and you're just blocking yourself. Let it go. Let it go. There's some people that will live the rest of their lives with a chip on their shoulder for something someone did. Isn't that just ridiculous? Let it go. Who's it affecting, them or you?
You.
It's just affecting you. And you hold all the power for your freedom. What are you giving it to at any given time? Just poignant as can be and as simple as can be. And it can be a daily practice, you know. I would even dare to say that I operate perhaps 99% optimal when I'm not thinking. The work does itself. The body does the work, and I just observe it. And it always happens great when I'm doing that. The minute my mind gets involved and tries to do something, never as good. Never even close. It's like you've got God's work and ego's work. Which one are you going to do? You know? Because it'll all get done. Everything that you've got planned to do for the rest of your life will get done. And you can sit there and think that you're doing it. Oh, look at this, I did this, you know. We all do it, but who really did it? Will and intention. Where did it come from?
Yeah.
From space. Sometimes when you're wrapped up in life and you just want to get on, just stop.
It's all going to happen anyway.
Yes, that's it. That's the point. It's going to happen anyway. If you don't wake up and brush your teeth and go to work and do your dharma tomorrow because you think you're in the driver's seat, watch what happens when you just stop. You'll turn up and nothing will touch you and you'll probably have the best day of your life. You'll do every job meticulously because at any given moment it will come in and you're just letting it go and you're in a complete state of flow, just doing everything, and the day will be done and you'll just be like, whoa, that was awesome. You feel like you almost get taken over by this wonderful source of monumental energy. It just carries you all the way home. It's just delicious. And then you're just left in this blissful, thankful state for life. It's like, what? Who's running this show? It's just beautiful. It's beautiful. So that's what we're going to play with. So we'll do the last bit of the class in Shavasana. I'll give you a guided relaxation. So what we can do is just take all the blocks and place them over there, and then we'll turn the mat so we've each got the mat. If you're happy to do this, yeah? I was going to go this way, but that's fine too.
Back and repeat. Yeah, you have to put it on and just stop it when you're on. So go and then, yeah.
Unless you want to just come here, we'll do this way so and allow them to go down a bit if you don't want to be on the same mat. You've all got enough room to. Okay, so I'm going to do Shavasana and then I'm going to lay down and then we'll all wake up tomorrow in the morning. That's a very nice day. Don't worry. palms facing up if you feel like you'd like to receive. Or have your palms facing down if you feel like you just want to ground and release. So receive or release, it's your choice. If you're feeling tired or drained, then have them up. If you're feeling like you've got stuff inside you want to let go of, have them down. Okay. Now just gently with your eyes closed, rotate your head all the way to the left. Just let it stretch out for a second and just keep your breath alive really silently, just breathing into the neck. And then you can pick the head up and roll it all the way around to the right. Just let it rest there for a moment, breathing into the tight bits of your neck. And then just roll it back to the center between the two. And then just on an inhale, pick your head up about 1 centimetre off the mat, tuck your chin down 1 centimetre so your back of your neck stretched, and then exhale, place the head back down. Good. Now pick up both of your arms about 1 centimetre off the mat, stretch through your fingers as if you're pulling your arms out of the shoulder sockets, just stretch them and then let them relax down. Good. Scrunch up your toes, pick up your heels and just extend your legs. Just tension in the legs, tension in the legs, and then just drop them down. Good. Now, just practice in a state of awareness, the feeling of I. Just give yourself permission to let your body relax. You can literally, mentally give yourself permission to relax. Enough is enough. And then we're just going to take our awareness, this ineffable source of beautiful consciousness, down into the right smallest toe. And we're just going to let the toe relax. Moving into the next toe. We're just going to let that toe relax. And then we're just going to keep going through all of the toes on the right foot until the toes are completely relaxed. And then we'll start with the left foot, baby toe. Moving one by one, letting the toes relax. And then we'll just start to let go of the tops of the feet, the soles of the feet. Ankles and the heels can relax. Backs of the calves and the shins. Permission to relax. Backs of the knees and the kneecaps. Relax. Thighs and the hamstrings. Can relax. Moving your awareness up into your buttocks and your pelvis. Permission to relax. Your abdomen, Relax your upper back, your heart, and just take a moment to abide in your heart. This is where the center of your being resides and emanates in this manifestation. So rest as the eye from this center and feel everything. And then relax your shoulders, your biceps and triceps, elbows and elbow creases. Relax. Relax your forearms, your wrists, your palms, and each of your fingers. Just completely let go so that you feel free and light, luminous and beautiful. Relax your neck muscles, all of your upper spine, and then relax your forehead, your temples, your eyebrows, your eyelids. Relax your eyes so they're not looking, they're relaxed and receiving. Let them drop into the sockets. Relax your cheeks. Relax your lips, your jaw muscles. So there's no clench on the teeth. Relax. Let your tongues just drop into your mouths, completely relaxed. So there's zero effort, zero holding anywhere from the tip of your head down to your feet. There is no boundary, there is no marker, there is just presence. And then let your mind relax. Unclench the fist of your mind, let it soften and relax. And as it relaxes, fall deeply into the state of lie. Just let go. slowly. Good, draw your feet together and then just reach your arms up over your heads. Watch out for the stuff around you and then just stretch out with your arms, stretch out of your feet, stretch the right side of your body, stretch the left side of your body, stretch, 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 and then let it go. Good, slowly draw your knees up to your chest and give yourself some big cuddle. Hug the knees, round the back, round the neck, forehead to the knees, just wiggle it out a little bit in a nice cuddle. And then let it go, and then slowly just roll onto your sides and make your way up. Take your time. You can never lose it. You can discover it though. It requires no work, no effort. It may feel as though you lose it, it may feel as though you're lost, but it only requires one moment to look, to discover that it's still there. You're still there. So be free. Be wild and courageous. Use your will and intention for good. And just take the back seat for tomorrow. Take a rest. Stop trying. Let your mind unravel all it wants to, but just take a different reference point. Let the world take over, let the universe take over. And you can become the universe. It's your birthright as a human. We are fortunate enough to be incarnated in a body that can comprehend this truth. So you're already blessed. You're already ahead of all other species on our planet. It's amazing. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
I hope you're relaxed.
Yeah.
It's not to be if at any point you're trying to be peaceful, you're stopping yourself from being peaceful.